TDS has many different event towers, ranging in functionality and usage, DPS, and how they should be used in different situations. Today, I wanted to rank all of them after the new reworks and new additions of event towers. Hope you guys enjoy. Like and subscribe. So the first tower we're going to be ranking is the Commando. So the Commando recently got a rework, as you guys probably know, and it is like actually pretty good now. It has the rockets which stall, which are pretty strong. It does like pretty good DPS. It has pierce, it has hidden now. So it's like pretty solid, I'd say. So I'm gonna be ranking these like in comparison to every tower though. The Commando's not really meta, like it could be used, but it's not really like great or anything. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Okay, next up we got Cryomancer, which this tower is like a crowd control stall. It does very little DPS, but this tower is literally insane at stalling. Probably like one of the best stall towers, definitely one of the best stall towers in the game. But it probably has more use than the Commando. It's like honestly probably one of the best event towers. So I think it still has to go in the B tier because it's not really like insanely meta. Like it's not used in everything, but it's a good tower. It's a solid tower. Next up, we got the Executioner, which this tower has like had like 0 updates. And like what, it's been added like 3 years ago, bro. More than 3 years ago. This tower is just not great. It's like its DPS is bad. Shoot, I didn't let my cat out, but yeah, its DPS is bad. It's like there's so many better options you could use. It does have flying detection, and I believe, yeah, it has hidden too, but like there's so many better options you could use. It's just not worth it. However, like it's not terrible, it's not really bad, so I'd put it probably in the C tier because it's definitely like worse than these, but it's not like terrible, like unusable. Next up, we got the Archer. Now this is a different story because this thing is literally like garbage. Like it has its pierce, which that makes it like okay on some maps, I guess. It has terrible DPS. I also think it's like, I think it has like a bug right now or something that makes it like really bad. I don't even own this tower, but from what I've heard, like it's terrible. So I think for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the F tier. Okay, next up we got the Sledger. Okay, so after I ranked the Sledger, it recently just got a rework, and the Sledger is really good now. It's like probably the best event tower in my opinion. So I would personally rank this new rework Sledger in the A tier. Next up we got the Elf Camp. Now the thing about the Elf Camp is it is extremely cheap. If you look at the Elf Camp here, it only costs $15,000 total, which that is extremely cheap, and it spawns like a lot of units and a lot of elves. You are getting what you pay for. You know, the units aren't like amazing, but they're honestly not bad, and for like how cheap this tower is, it can like hold up decently. So I do think it's probably worse than the Sledger, but probably better than the Executioner, so I think I'll put it like right here. I think that's good. Now Gladiator. Okay, Gladiator was like an extremely good tower used for like all speedruns and everything, until they got hit with like shadow update that made the sword pierce to only 3 enemies as a like a 3 unit cap. Low-key that like Glad was overpowered, but that like cap really hurt it, so it's like not used a lot anymore. But however, it is used though in some like speedruns. It is, it's probably better than Commando still, but I don't think it's better than Cryo, so I'll probably put it below Cryo. I'll probably put it there. I think that's good. Okay, now the Jester. Okay, Jester was like the best tower in the game at one point when it could confuse bosses. That was just not balanced at all. Now, the Jester is honestly kind of slept on, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, well, I don't really use it myself either, but like, this tower is pretty cheap. It has poison and fire, which are both good damage dealers, and they melt defense, I believe. I don't know if the poison defense melting is broken right now, but those both do good damage. And then it has ice and confusion, which are amazing for stalling, and you can place like 8 of them, which is like really solid. So I think I'll rank it, I don't think it's A tier, but I will put it in the B tier above the Cryomancer, because I think all the different attributes that it has make it better than the Cryomancer. Okay, next up we got the Frost Blaster. So the Frost Blaster was like also really good at one point. It was used in like speedruns, it was used in hardcore a lot, like most game modes, because it had really good stalling. It had Pierce, and it was like pretty cheap, so it was like really solid. However, recently, Frost Blaster got nerfed in a shadow update, I believe, where the freeze has a 3-second cooldown now. So if I spawn in some normals here, you'll see. So old Frost Blaster, all these would have been getting like spam frozen right now, but as you can see, it's only freezing the ones that like haven't been frozen, and it's literally struggled to kill 10 like some of the normals right there, which that's pretty sad. But yeah, the Frost Blaster is like really bad now because of this, because it was literally like, it was an amazing stall tower, and it just like stalled so well. It also has the hidden detection, which helps it out, because it's good for shadow bosses and hardcore and stuff like that. But now because of this, it's like pretty bad, bro. It's probably worse than, it's like old Frost Blaster, bro. It's probably worse than like all these towers right here. It's probably, okay, no, it's probably better than Executioner, but bro, maybe I have to move Executioner to D, to be honest. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think this, yeah, I think this is what I'll do. I think it's better than Executioner still, just because it gets to like freeze at least and stuff. Executioner is literally just useless. So yeah, this is probably what I'll do. Next up, we got the Necromancer. Okay, Necromancer is like not terrible. It's just like, it costs like so much just for like so little. Like, this thing costs 43,500 total, and it itself does 65 DPS only. And the things that make it good, its skeletons are literally like RNG for them to spawn. RNG, it's RNG for you to get good one. And even if you get like, I'm pretty sure this Executioner skeleton is limited to one of them spawning. It only has 3.5k health, and it only does 124 DPS, and it'll probably just die pretty quick because this is like super underpowered for game modes right now. The Hologuard is just 1.2k, and then the rest of these are just like terrible. So I'd probably put the Necromancer, it's probably better than the Frost Blaster, but I think it's worse than Elf Camp. I'll probably put it below Elf Camp in the C tier. Okay, next up, Swarmer. I don't even need to say a lot about this tower. Like, this tower is so garbage, bro. I don't have it, but I like seeing this be used, and it is literally useless, bro. It's probably I've heard it's like one of the worst towers in the game. I'll probably put it below the archer because it literally does like 8 DPS or something. And yeah, it's literally just useless, bro. Okay, next up we got the slasher. So this tower also recently got a rework, and it is pretty good now. But this tower is just so... It's again, bro, it's expensive, and like it's a melee tower, bro. Like you're spending so much money when you only get like that like little, like it has good DPS, but you need like a lot of help to make it like viable, because you're only getting that like little bit from it. Even with the new blood gimmick, which that is pretty cool, it's just not really like anything amazing, but it is definitely better than these. I don't think it's better than Commando, so I'll probably put it in the B tier right there, below the Commando. The Toxic Gunner was also... Toxic Gunner was an extremely good tower when it first came out, but that was like ages ago. Because it could slow bosses, and it was like super broken because of that. It was also good in the early game too, and throughout the mid game. It was just really good overall. Because it had good early game DPS. It was super cheap. It still is really cheap. So that makes it, you know, makes it okay, but it's probably better than Elf Camp. Okay, it's Necromancer is definitely better than it. Actually, Necromancer is definitely better than Elf Camp. I don't know why I did that. So it's probably better than Elf Camp. So probably like that. Yeah. Okay, Snowballer. Bro, this tower is the laziest, like, might be one of the laziest things I've seen in this game. Okay. If we go to the Snowballer. Okay. This thing literally uses the freezer icons. Bro, its total cost is $3,600 for a grand total of 7 DPS, bro. And it only has 3 levels. Okay, this is the only tower in the game to ever have 3 levels. So it can do like good for like maybe like 5 waves, three waves in the early game. Just, I mean, it's super cheap. At least, you know, you could use it in the early game for like a bit, but this tower is just utter garbage, bro. Tower is literally like, I've heard okay, it's literally one of the worst towers in the game. It's probably worse than the Swarmer, definitely worse than the Archer, so it's probably gonna be the bottom of the list. The new Elementalist. Now this tower is super cool actually, and it's like pretty good too. It has ice turrets, fire, like a fire ability, but I mean, this tower is cheap in the early levels. It has hidden detection. It gets heat wave, which is a second ability that it has, and the heat wave is supposed to do 150 damage on level 2, which that is really good. It also knocks back and does burn damage, which it's actually like really solid. But I mean, yeah, this tower is solid. Its DPS is like okay, and then you get the turrets as well, which help. It can stall. It can do good burn damage. It's kind of like a weaker version of. It's pretty much like a Jester, but like it does more damage. So for that reason, it's probably I guess the best event tower right now. But I don't think it's A tier because it's still not gonna be that meta. It's not gonna be really used in anything. It's not really meta. But you know it's good. It can have its situations. It can help. Okay, so next up we got the Harvester. And the Harvester is like pretty good. It's good for crowd control if you use it right. It can do a lot of DPS. It's not too expensive. It has flying detection. It slows down enemies. It's not bad. I'd probably put it above. It's probably worse than Cryo. But it's probably better than Glad. So I think I'd put it right there. And then our final tower is the Hollow Punk, and this tower is garbage. It's better than Snowballer, probably better than Swarmer. Yeah, I think it's better than all these three, but it's worse than Executioner. I'd probably put it at the start of F tier, because this tower's like useless. So yeah, let me know what you guys think.